Father, whenever you're ready, Abu Nafis. Abu Naila.
Brother asked, he's desperate to get a used car for himself and his family. Is it okay if he takes a loan from his credit union to buy a used car and let them take it out of his paycheck every month?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. A brother is desperate to buy a used car for himself and for his family. Is it permissible for him to take a loan given by the credit union, Omar? And they're going to take the balance out of his weekly paycheck. We say the general rule of all transactions pertaining to a bank or a credit union is that they are haram in general. Everything. Debit card, debit account, checking account, Visa, loan, this, financing. The general rule is that all of these transactions are haram. The general rule. And the reason why they're haram is because it is cooperation upon sin and transgression. The general rule. Arju Allah yasta'jil ahad. No one be hasty. We say what? The general rule. Dealing with a bank that deals with riba in general is haram. Putting your money in the bank, taking your money out the bank is generally what? Haram. Everybody clear on this? Some people say, oh, well, you can wire money through Western Union but not have a bank account. Well, some brothers said this in Yemen. You can't have a bank account, but you can use what? Is Western Union? What is Western Union based off of? Bank. Riba. You go to the bank, and there's a Western Union section there. Everybody clear on this? Especially overseas. America is a bit different when you might just have a Western Union. Overseas, all Western Unions are part of bank. So the general rule of any muamala is that it's what? Haram. La yajuz. Because these banks are staked with the filth of riba. Everybody clear on this? A little or a lot. Even if your transaction is not based off of riba, but you're supporting the system, you're feeding the cow. Feeding the cow. You're giving food to the cow. The beast. You're feeding the beast of riba. So that's the general rule. Obviously, with every general rule, there are exceptions. There are exceptions to every general rule. From those exceptions is that when there's extreme difficulty or necessity, it's durura, I'm compelled, I have no other option, no other choice. Or a person, he fears harm upon himself and his family. If I save all of my money and put it in my house, it's going to bring cops and robbers. Not just robbers, but what? In 2016, unfortunately. Not like some ignoramuses who try to defend, oh, how can you say this? What do you mean oppression? What are you talking about? Wallahi, we haven't seen you defend the Muslims getting killed and slaughtered and blown into pieces. But you're so fast to defend the non-Muslims who rule and judge by the Taghut laws. You're so fast to defend them. Don't say this about them. Don't say that. No. But you see a Muslim getting shot up and blown to pieces in Palestine, that's what they deserve. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. There's some people, they'll defend the Jews killing the Muslims before they defend the Muslims. Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah musta'an yani. Hasbunallah. La hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Everybody understand this? So the concept is you fear someone breaking into your house, stealing your money, your wealth being taken, or it's impossible for a person, let's say hypothetically, it's impossible to live in 2016 without some type of dealings with some type of bank. Western Union, this, that, paycheck, something. I left off the job that's haram for a halal job. But they pay me in what? Paycheck. And to get my cash, my check cash, I have to go to a Riba Institute to feed my wife, to feed my kids, to pay the bills. Everybody understand this? So these are just general exceptions to the rules, with a person being cautious, with a person taking that which is a necessity and a need and not that which is luxury, a want. I have to have a car for work. Doesn't necessarily have to mean I have the most fancy, expensive car. I have to have a place to live that's suitable for me and my children. Doesn't mean I have to have a house on the hill, a mansion off riba. Everybody understand this? Taking as least the little bit as you possibly can. Everybody understand this? These are different general rules. General what? General rules. Everybody clear on this? If you have to get a bank card, get this type of card and not that type of card. If you have to have an account, don't take the money, so on and so forth. Everybody clear on this? In brief. So therefore, if the loan does not involve interest, it does not entail interest, they're just giving you a good-hearted loan, then that's one thing. If it's a means of necessity, you're getting a used car, not even a brand new car, then that's what? That's one thing. This is a necessity, something that you have to do, that's what? That's one thing. But if there are other avenues, other ways that you can get a car that's suitable for your work, for your family, to take care of your kids, that does not include riba, that does not involve dealing with riba, so on and so forth, then that is what you should do. That is what you should do. But if it's difficult, if it's a hardship, if it's burdensome, if you do not have the ability, fear Allah to the best of your ability. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah to the best of your capabilities. Try your best. Try your hardest. Ask Allah to protect you from riba and do the best that you possibly what? Can. Wallahu ta'ala. And that's the answer to this question. What? In brief.
Is it permissible for men and women to mix at a wedding seating-wise?
Is it permissible for men and women to mix in a wedding sitting? It depends on those men and those women. Men that are mahrams for the women are not like men who are not mahrams. A mahram man can sit in front of his family members. It's my sister, my mother, my aunt, my daughter, my stepdaughter. What heck that? It depends. If someone is not a mahram, it's a different story. A woman who's dressed in the proper way is not like a woman who's dressed in the improper way, indecent way. A man and a woman who are not mahrams for each other, sitting in seclusion, is not the same. And I'm not saying it's permissible, but I'm trying to make a point. It's not the same as those who aren't in seclusion. There's a difference between you and the girl in the elevator, Sharif, and between you, the girl, this guy, 3, 4, 5 other people. It's 6 girls and 3 guys on the elevator, including you. Everybody understand this? It's not khalwa. It's not what? It's not the seclusion. It's not just you and what? You and her. Everybody understand this? A meeting and a gathering which is doubtful. It's not like a meeting and a gathering which isn't doubtful, which is clear. It's objective. There's no fitna. There's no riba. There's no doubtful, suspicious, shady things going on. Everybody understand this? I'm not saying that that's permissible. I'm trying to make a point. There's a difference. A dodgy type of sitting and a different type of what? Sitting. Everybody understand this? These are all dawabit, regulations for quote unquote free mixing. As we have explained before, there are times in which free mixing is totally haram, without a doubt. Some of what we just explained. A woman is uncovered. He's not a mahram. They are secluded. They're laughing, they're joking, they're talking, they're looking, they're smiling. That's one thing. And there are other times in which free mixing, quote unquote, is permissible, in which they are relatives, they're related, they cannot marry each other. I go and visit my aunt. It's my sister, my stepdaughter. What heck that? Everybody understand this? There are times in which we are not secluded. It's not just man and woman, but they're men and women. A public place, a dark, secret type of place. Everybody understand this? It's not the same. You bring some brothers over your house for dinner, and your wife comes and she serves a tray of tea. Now, this may not be in your culture. You may not like it in your culture, but to say that it's haram, that's a different story now. That's a what? It's a different story. Everybody understand this? The haram is what's mentioned in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ not to do. So therefore, it depends on the situation. It depends what? On the situation. In general, if people are not, they're not related, they're not mahrams for each other, women are dressed in a certain way, they're laughing, they're joking, they're prettied up, they should not be sitting with each other, they should be separated. On what level of separation? A total different building, a total different wall, they sit on the left, they sit on the right, etc. Let's say what? Wandering eyes. Allahumma musta'an. Tayyib, everybody understand this? The general rule is that if somebody's getting married, it's a time of happiness. It's an occasion. And whenever there's happiness and a special occasion, people automatically let their guards down. There's no doubt about this. A walima, food is involved, drink is involved, the person's guard is automatically what? Down. Because they're happy. We didn't come here to be like, iron and stone. We come here to have fun. Women, they want to dress up, they want to look nice. rather some women who wear the proper hijab, on their wedding day, they might get a little, just sway. She has on her hijab from the car, but her high heel shoes are on, and she has on no socks. And she lifts up her overgarment to get from the car to the curb to the wedding hall to go inside. Everybody understands? It happens. So therefore, the people should do what? Avoid the fitna. It should be separated. The men should sit and dine, and the women should sit and dine and dance and whatever they're going to do, separated and not together. They should not be together. A man, he goes to see his mother, his aunt, my sister's getting married. Let him leave the men's area and go in the proper place, not enter upon all of the women as some people do. Because it happens, people, they forget, they get sloppy, they lose. She's dancing, this and that. Oh, come see sister. Oh, walk out. Happens what? That quick. That's at best if somebody looks and turns. He may say what? Assalamu alaikum. He may keep looking. Peace be upon all of you. Assalamu alaikunna. Everybody understand this? So this is a problem. So the general Islamic rule is to cut off the cancer in its early stages. Rather, not to cut off the cancer, but to prevent the cancer. This is a major principle in Islam. Saddu dharaya is to prevent vice. Is to do what? To prevent vice. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ forbade a man and a woman being secluded who aren't married to each other, who aren't mahrams for each other. What's wrong with it? He didn't say anything bad to her. He didn't touch her. He didn't kiss her. She's not a fornicatress, but it leads to, no, it leads to what? Vice. We say that. It leads to some type of shar. Allah says, وَلَا تَقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ فَتَكُونَ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. Approach not this tree, lest you be from the wrongdoers. Allah didn't say don't eat from the tree, but He said what? Don't go near it. Don't go what? Alright, understand this? And there are many ayat in the Quran, a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that support the qaida of saddu dharaya. Saddu dhari'ah is to cut, to shut, to slam the door closed in front of any vice, anything that leads to something that's harmful. So men and women, they're laughing, they're joking, they're drinking, they're happy. The women, they're playing the duff, they're dancing. She has on makeup, she has on this dress. It's going to lead to shar. The men are sitting here, then he gets up, she fixed her kima. It's going to lead to what? It's going to lead to shar. So it should be avoided. And they should not be sitting and mixing and mingling with each other. Hopefully this is clear, inshallah. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Khalas? Tfadal.
What are some texts that, assuming a student wants to specialize in a different field, what are some texts that every student should memorize, regardless of?
First and foremost is a student of knowledge. If he isn't someone who speaks the Arabic language, he should learn how to speak Arabic first. Learn how to speak Arabic. Learn conversation. Learn vocabulary words. And after that, even if a person is from an Arabic speaking country, he has to learn nahu and sarf. Grammar and sarf, morphology as they say. Why is it ja'a zaydun, ra'aytu zaydan, marartu bi zaydin? Why is that? Wa ana aishata, wa ana aishatin. Muslimin, muslimun, why? Daraba, yadribu, wadrib, darban. Tadarabu, istadrab, darrab, limada. Why is it like this? Kataba yaktubu. Nasara yansuru. Fariha yafrahu. He has to learn nahu and what? Sarf. In the Arabic language, that's the key to everything. And the stronger you are in the Arabic language, specifically in grammar, inshallah, everything else will be easier. Bidhnillah. So that's first and foremost. Whether you're an Arab, Arabian, Arabic as they say here, Arabic people or not. That's the first step. After that, you should try your best to memorize as much of the Quran Kareem as possible. If you can memorize the Quran Kareem from cover to cover, the Mus'haf al-Sharif, wallahi anta ala khairin kathir. It's a major accomplishment. The dalil, the ayat, the ahkam, aqidah, tawheed, you've all been what? By heart, you memorized it. Let alone the virtue of the memorizer of the Quran. Let alone the physical, mental, and spiritual discipline that the half of the Quran enjoys that others don't. He has disciplined himself to sit down, to memorize every day, to review every day, to suck up the information what? Every day. The sharpness of his mind. As those ayat. Lillahi ma fi samawati wa ma fi al-ard. Ma fi samawati wal ard. This says ma. His mind is what? like a box cutter, razor blade. So how is he going to memorize hadith? And other things, he's going to be what? Everybody understand this? So memorizing the Quran Kareem has several what? Benefits and virtues. Everybody clear on this, Omar? You understand this? So that's the first, that step. After that, you have to be well-rounded in every field. Every single field. And there are some things which are called ulum al-ala, auxiliary fields. And there are some things which are ulum al-ghaya, or ghayat. In other words, the things that you should be focusing on and you want to study permanently are three and only three. Tafsir, hadith, and fiqh. Tafsir, hadith, and fiqh. Those three things. The other sciences lead to those three things, such as tajweed, such as usul al-tafsir, such as mustalah al-hadith, hadith terminology, such as usul al-fiqh, al-nahu, al-sarf. These are the tools, the wrenches, the hammers, the saws, the axes that allow you to actually do the carpentry work. Everybody understand this? It's a tool. If I can do it without the tool, I don't need the tool. But the tool makes it easier, faster, more sound. Everybody clear? Everybody understand this? So these are sciences that you study to get to a destination. How can I understand this book of hadith if I don't understand the terminology of hadith? Sahih, Hasan, Da'if, Mursal, Thiqa, Shadh, Munkar, Kaif. Unless you study Mustalah hadith. How do I know what's halal, what's haram? Who's the mujtahid? Who's the muqallid? Who's the mustafti? Al-nasikh, al-mansukh, al-mujmal, mubayyin, al-zahir, al-nas, al-muawwal. These terms except through usul al-fiqh. But usul al-fiqh is not actual fiqh. Fiqh is the thing that you want to study permanently. Sit down and study that. Usul al-fiqh is the bridge to learning and studying, practicing the fiqh properly. Everybody clear on this? The books of tafsir. When I read Ibn Kathir, Ibn Jarir, As-Sa'di, Shawkani, Fulan, how do I understand and read these books unless I have the usul of tafsir? What is the steps? What are the steps in explaining the Quran? Al-Quran, 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 Al-Sunnah, Al-Quran, Aqwal al-Sahaba, Al-Quran, Al-Lugha, Makki, Madani, Nasikh, Mansukh. Then you also study ulum al-Quran. What's the difference between Hafs and Warsh? The Musaf of Uthman, Musaf of Aisha, like that. So these are auxiliary sciences that you have to study and learn. And for each of these sciences, there are specific books that the people of knowledge have mentioned. An example of this, when you study in Usul al-Fiqh, al-Waraqat. Al-Waraqat. Everybody clear this? Or no? The modern day times, al-Usul min ilm al-Usul, Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen. Very simple, easy text, even in English. Mustalah al-Hadith, you have al-Bayquniyya, Nukhbat al-Fikr, al-Tadhkir of Ibn al-Mulaqqin, al-Ba'ath al-Hadith for the beginners. Everybody understand this? Usul al-Tafsir, many different books. Shaykh Uthaymeen has a very small book on Usul al-Tafsir. Easily read, easily understood, concise, right to the point. And there are other books on Usul al-Tafsir as well. Everybody understand this? Ulum al-Quran, many different books on Ulum al-Quran. Sarf, Nahu, wa hakadha. Everybody understand this? What? Wa hakadha. A book which may not be considered to be a beginner's book, but I feel is a book that's very easy and clear, is the book of Suyuti, rahimahullah, Al-Itqan. Maybe a bit lengthy, but it is very simply understood with plenty of examples. Perfect book to read with regards to Ulum al-Quran. And there are other books as well. Smaller textbooks from the different schools and universities on what? Ulum al-Quran. As far as we mentioned Usul al-Fiqh, Usul al-Tafsir, Ulum al-Quran, Al-Nahu, Al-Ajurumiyya, perfect book. As-Sarf, you say what? Mulhatul I'rab, it's good even for Nahu and for Sarf, for both of them. مثلا شذا العرف في فن الصرف للحملاوي, a very excellent book on Sarf. Small, mukhtasar, but you need a teacher for that book. And the other small books as well. As far as fiqh, then it depends on how you want to study fiqh. Fiqh of a madhab, comparative fiqh, fiqh of hadith, etc. Small summarized books such as Durur al-Bahiyya, Minhaj al-Salikin, وهكذا. عمدة الفقه Ibn Qudama. أقصر المختصرات, for example. A few names to mention them as examples. Hadith, Bulugh al-Maram, Umdat al-Ahkam. Obviously 40 Hadith al-Nawawi, rahimahullah. As far as tafsir, one of the best tafsirs for a beginner is Fath al-Qadir of Shawkani, rahimahullah. And the summarized version of that, Zubdat al-Tafsir, Sulaiman Ashqar, rahimahullah. Also, Tafsir ibn Sa'di is good, but it's more tarbiyah, which you need, but it's not the technicalities of the tafsir. Mathalan, Shawkani, or you say Mathalan, Tafsir al-Jalalain, excellent book for a beginner. Superb book that will make your language strong. Tafsir al-Jalalain. It's a book that a beginner should read several times. 3, 4, 5 times you should read that book from cover to cover. وهكذا. Small, summarized books. Then obviously you have other sciences such as Tawheed, which is included in Hadith and included in Tafsir. Kitab al-Tawheed is nothing but what? Quran and Hadith. Everybody understand this? Al-Muhim, we'll stop here. We don't want to go past the time. Hopefully, by Allah's permission, tomorrow night, we will give more clarification on this important question. Inshallah. Wallahu ta'ala alam.